Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily News. I'm Nicholas Richardson. Donald Trump's victory in the United States presidential election is a chance to take Polish-American relations to an even higher level. That's because Donald Trump is linked with Polish President Andrzej Duda, not only by official relations, but also by a mutual friendship dating back to the first term of the American president. However, while Andrzej Duda was able to cooperate with his counterparts from both the Republican and Democratic sides, the politicians of the December 13th coalition lacked such diplomatic skills. The Polish Prime Minister, Foreign Minister, and even their candidate for Polish ambassador to the United States have repeatedly attacked and even insulted Donald Trump in the past. Meanwhile, much more than just the political careers of Donald Tusk and his people depend on relations with the United States president. One of the first Western world leaders to congratulate the 47th president-elect of the United States, Donald Trump, was President Andrzej Duda. Congratulations, Mr. President Trump. You made it happen. This is an entry from yesterday. Today, one of the president's closest aides, National Security Office Chief Jacek Siewera, said that a visit to Warsaw by Donald Trump would still be possible before the end of Andrzej Duda's term. With all these people, President Andrzej Duda's environment has relations that go back many years. We know these people. We have each other's cell phone numbers. After all, the two presidents have met many times, both in Poland and in the United States. Most recently in April in New York, as US President Donald Trump himself recalled in an interview with Republica. This friendship between the presidents goes back to Donald Trump's first term. It was really a very good time for Polish-American bilateral relations because it was a time when we started, you could say, cooperation with the American side in the field of nuclear energy. It was a time when the first long-term contracts for the supply of liquefied natural gas to Poland were signed. This really gave us diversification and energy security. Energy security, but also military security. It was during Donald Trump's presidency that the decision was made to station an additional 5,000 American troops in Poland. Now the total is 10,000. President Duda very skillfully knew how to present the rationale for our part of Europe to Donald Trump at a key moment when it came to support for Ukraine. I think it was in Poland's great interest. It was also during Donald Trump's tenure in the White House that visa requirements were lifted for Poles traveling to the United States. No Polish politician after 1989 has built such a political apparatus and capital in the United States as President Andrzej Duda. The challenge for Poland now is to use this capital to secure the transatlantic alliance. That alliance is now threatened by Donald Tusk and the entire German-Russian bias that governs Poland and the European Union. The way to achieve this is to win the presidential election, but it cannot be achieved without the strong support of President Andrzej Duda, because it is his personal relationship with President Donald Trump that guarantees the continuation of effective cooperation between Poland and the United States. No representative of the December 13th coalition camp has such a position. And you know that the foreign ministry may have a problem with this relationship. For example, Radosław Sikorski might have a problem. Then maybe you need to start by choosing the right ambassador in Washington. Reminder, the foreign ministry insists that Bogdan Klich, who has publicly insulted Donald Trump, should be Poland's ambassador to the United States. Testimony before Congress that Trump wanted to join the rebels occupying the Capitol is frightening, but not surprising. Let's remember that it was friendship with this unbalanced and disrespectful of democracy politician that was supposed to be, according to Law and Justice, the guarantor of Poland's security. Sikorski himself in 2019 called Trump a fascist, while his wife a few weeks ago compared the US president to the greatest criminals of the 20th century, and Donald Tusk first mocked Donald Trump, which he himself boasted about on social media and in his book Honestly, and then accused him of being dependent on Russian influence. It's a mutual dislike, by the way. Words of criticism of the December 13th coalition are not hidden by the Vice President-elect of the United States, J.D. Vance. One of Donald Trump's closest associates also praises the effects of cooperation with the Polish right. Until recently, Poland had a conservative government. Using heavy diplomatic and economic pressure, the Biden administration and many European countries attacked this government as anti-democratic. That government was recently replaced by a globalist liberal government, which is now arresting its political opponents and shutting down public debate. Sound familiar? In the name of protecting democracy, they are using your taxes to attack a government that has been a great ally of ours.
That heavy load put on by Donald Tusk and Radosław Sikorski, and by all the politicians who are supposed to be in charge of Poland's foreign policy at the moment, is so heavy with relations with Trump that it would be very good for Poland if the candidate continued the mission that President Duda has been very successfully carrying out.
At stake is not only the position of the Republic on the international stage, but also our security. Hence the great importance of the outcome of the upcoming presidential elections in Poland. Donald Trump faces great challenges. His campaign promises addressed specific problems affecting America and the world. Now it's time to implement a plan whose main message was the slogan, "We will fix it." What does the new United States president want to fix, and how?
10 million. That's how many illegal migrants are estimated to have entered the United States during Joe Biden's tenure. Among them, as Donald Trump has repeatedly emphasized, were thousands of common criminals who fled from justice in their own countries.
The gates to an invasion of criminal migrants from prisons and jails, from insane asylums and mental institutions, from all over the world, from Venezuela to the Congo in Africa. A lot of people coming out of the Congo, not just South America, they're coming from 181 countries.
Trump has unequivocally advocated closing and sealing the borders. This brings back the plan to build more barriers on the border with Mexico, the construction of which was halted after Joe Biden took over. Republicans also announced the largest ever plan to deport illegal migrants. Something needs to be done. First and foremost, of course, seal the border. Because if you don't seal the border, and if you don't create a security system, one that will actually allow you to control this flow, it won't do anything. No deportations will do anything, because these people will come back. In addition to illegal migration, Trump wants to crack down on rising inflation at an express pace. Here, a series of economic changes announced to free up investment in the country are expected to help. This mainly involves reducing regulations and the now famous "Drill Baby Drill" slogan. So, drill. On the one hand, it's freeing up federal land owned by the state so that oil and gas can be explored on it, and making America, to an even greater extent than now, an exporter of hydrocarbons.
Come on up here, Elon.
Trump also has another, very popular among voters, plan regarding the administration itself. It's about a big audit and massive spending cuts just among the officials themselves.
As you can see, I'm not just MAGA, I'm dark MAGA.
This is the area where Elon Musk, the owner of Tesla, SpaceX, and Platform X, or the former Twitter, is set to get a wide range of opportunities. It was after taking over Twitter that Musk laid off 80% of its employees as part of spending cuts. It was predicted at the time that this was the beginning of the end for the company, but it still exists, and the number of its users is slowly reaching 300 million worldwide.
The Polish community in the United States has voted for Donald Trump. The results of the vote show that the regions inhabited by Americans of Polish descent voted overwhelmingly for the Republican presidential candidate. Many of them are also viewers of Republica. Even in the strongly pro-Kamala Harris city of Philadelphia, the Polish neighborhood of Port Richmond turned out to be a Republican stronghold.
Philadelphia, the largest city in the U.S. state of Pennsylvania. Philadelphia's Port Richmond neighborhood is known as Little Poland. The Polish community living there overwhelmingly supported Donald Trump in the election of the 47th president of the United States. According to people I know, the majority voted for Trump. There are positive feelings. Also, depending on what happens next, it's mainly about safety on our streets, because it's not very peaceful in Philadelphia. And also the economy. It also depends on what Trump is going to do in terms of the economy, if he's going to deliver what he promised. Donald Trump convinced the Polish-American community. According to website Politico, the Polish community gave him victory. This is especially true for Americans of Polish descent living in swing states. Pennsylvania is for Donald Trump, a state where there are 800,000 Poles, a state where we have repeatedly voted for Donald Trump. The 47th president of the United States seems to have great support among Polish Americans. Because Donald Trump didn't forget Poles during his campaign. That's why our compatriots living in the USA have once again bet on him. I am happy, I won't hide it. I have been for Trump from the beginning. I voted for him in the last election. I am Catholic and I am not ashamed of it, so Christian values are important to me. In the states of Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada, the support between Democrats and Republicans changes with each election. All indications are that in the election of the 47th president of the United States, Donald Trump won in all of them. Politicians in Poland should take a fresh look at the potential of the Polish-American community and the relationship between the Polish diaspora and the country. Because the Polish-American community has decided to support Donald Trump's return to the White House in 2024, who has loudly proclaimed his affection for Poland and the Polish people.
The relationship with Polish people has just been extraordinary, and I hope they get out and vote for me, because the other side does not like the Polish people. They don't like religion. They don't like anything. And I hope the Polish people could get out and vote for somebody that shares their values about things.
Just like in 2016, Americans of Polish descent supported Trump. This time, our station had a part in it. The Polish diaspora, which unites in various circles, you can see now that it has also united around the circles of Gazeta Polska, sympathizers of Republika. You could see it at the meetings of Tomasz Sakiewicz in Pennsylvania. According to foreign policy experts, it is worth betting on the potential of the Polish-American community. It is necessary to follow this path, to try to help the Polish diaspora organize itself again, at least on the basis of this success, so that the Polish diaspora in our country is treated as an important element in the struggle for the rightful place of Poland, in accordance with its raison d'etat. This is sorely lacking at the moment, but it is possible. The politicians of Donald Tusk's coalition, who before the elections were betting on a victory for Kamala Harris, now have a tough nut to crack and are trying to make a good face. United States citizens of Polish origin voted for both Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. We already know that Trump won the election. The case is closed. Cooperation will be very good, I have no doubt. I just accept the reality as it is, and we will cooperate with Donald Trump. What kind of reality do you think it is? It's the reality where Donald Trump said a lot of disturbing things during the campaign. Because the topic of the difficult relationship between Donald Trump and the other Donald, Tusk and his government, is not a secret to anyone. They are extremely irresponsible people. It shows that their foreign policy is in disarray. Unfortunately, this also affects all of Poland. Fortunately, for the next few months, we will still have President Andrzej Duda, who has a great, even personal relationship with Donald Trump. It is thanks to Donald Trump that we have, among other things, a much larger American military presence in Poland. The question is whether the issue of Fort Trump, i.e., a further increase in U.S. troops in Poland, will come back up after his return.
A shock and sudden collapse of the government in Berlin. Shortly after his election victory in the United States, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz unexpectedly announced the end of the ruling coalition and early elections. Why such a decision? Was it expected? And when will we know the date of the elections that will produce a new government in Germany?
The collapse of the German government is becoming reality. The so-called traffic light coalition of three parties has been floundering since its inception. But the Chancellor's decision to abruptly end his partnership with the FDP liberals has taken everyone by surprise. We don't have the basic trust between us to continue working together. A serious government cannot function in this way. The reason for the breakup of the coalition is said to be disagreements over the solution to Germany's growing economic crisis, as well as support for Ukraine. According to unofficial information, it was the FDP that first wanted to leave the government, but Olaf Scholz made a preemptive move and threw out the coalition partner. Olaf Scholz has long overlooked the need for new solutions for our country's economy and downplayed the concerns of our citizens. He continues to do so now by calling into question decisions that would make the citizens of our country proud again. Scholz's political plan was not to fall quickly. He wanted to postpone key votes until early next year, so that his minority government would be in place by spring. But the opposition, media and German business want elections as soon as possible.
Grund Die Vertrauensfrage.
There is absolutely no reason to postpone the vote of confidence until January. The coalition no longer has a majority in the German
Und
parliament.
damit haben wir
This means early elections in Germany right after the new year. The SPD is likely to be defeated. Polls put its support at around only a dozen percent.
Niemcy nie są w stanie.
Germany is no longer able to respond adequately to the challenges of the world with this government constellation of three very different parties. Nor is it able to respond to what has happened in America, because Germany is clearly surprised by Trump's victory.
W Ameryce, bo Niemcy są ewidentnie zaskoczeni wygraną Trumpa.
The timing of the collapse of the German government coalition is no coincidence and is closely related to what happened in the United States. That is, the great victory of the Republicans and Donald Trump, as Chancellor Scholz himself admitted. Even before it was expected, some commentators expected that, if Trump won, the coalition might break up, and indeed it happened faster than expected. But the US election certainly had an effect on it. The favorite to win the upcoming elections in Germany is the CDU, together with its Bavarian sister party, the CSU. But it is unlikely to be able to govern alone, which could prolong the political chaos in Germany.
That's the news. Thank you for watching, and from me, it's have a good night and a better tomorrow.